Welcome to another edition of Frankly Franklin. This is Henry Stone. February is Black History Month. The old Lincoln School in Franklin has a lot of history, especially a lot of history relating to sports. We're pleased to have as our guest on Frankly Franklin today, Kenneth Holt, who's kind of a walking history of sports at Lincoln School. Kenneth, of course, played football and basketball and probably baseball and track and the works back in those days. Ken, how would you describe the sports programs at Lincoln?
Had a good sports program. My senior year in high school, we had a real good football team. We were 6-2, and actually we just lost. We were one game out from winning the district. We lost to Russell first game of the season, which kept us out of the playoffs. And my junior year, basically the same thing. We lost a couple of games that kept us out of the playoffs. But overall, the sports program was very good, especially our track teams. We had real good track teams.
Yeah, let's talk about track first, because I know Joe Billy Flippin set a state record when he was, a sophomore or junior at Lincoln?
He was a junior at Lincoln. He ran in fact, in the Hilltop relays, he ran a hand time 9.6, which was, 2 or 3 tenths faster than anyone ever run up there. Because I think the record at that time was like a 9.9. He ran a 9.6. And in the state, he tied the state record. He ran a 9.9 to tie the state record.
Let's get back to basketball. I know you played on some teams that really have a lot of history about athletics at the Lincoln School. Tell us about that team. Who was on the team? I know you pulled some big upsets and went quite a distance.
Yeah, my sophomore year we had Holt, Tyrone Thomas, Johnny Bell, Joey Barbie, and Joey Flippin, myself, Alfred Briggs, Frank Gooch, Frank Stanley, Kerry Page. We played NCI. NCI is Nashville Christian Institute out of Nashville. And basically what they were at that time, they were an Oak Hill Academy. Now, Oak Hill Academy is a private school that more or less caters to the best basketball players in the nation, and they all recruit them down there to play. So NCI was basically the same thing. At that time, that All-American out of Detroit named Reggie Hart. He was a 7'1", weighed about 260 pounds, and 3 or 4 other All-Americans, and they were 6'6", 6'7", which at that time was monstrous to us because our tallest player was 6'3", and it was Johnny Bell. We played him over in our gym. And we always called our gym, everybody called our gym the cracker box because it was so small. But we played him here, and they were undefeated at that time. And they played a big-time high school schedule. They played Nashville Pearl, teams out of Tennessee, teams out of Alabama, Mississippi. And we beat them. Tyrone Thomas had a last-second shot that beat them here. And they were undefeated at that time up there. It was like 15 or 16-0. And we upset them. So that was one of the highlights of probably Lincoln as far as beating a team like that in a situation like that.
Lincoln did play in district, regional, and state tournaments back in those days?
Yeah, we never made the state. The football team of 49 and 50, they played Lynch, East Main, West Main for the state championship up in Frankfort, up at Kentucky State. And they lost, I think, near the last 7-6, 9-6, something like that. That team consisted of Robert Briggs and Charles Whiteside, James Whiteside, Ray Jr. Young, Buck Dalford. Had some good football players. They weren't defeated.
Did any of the Lincoln players ever make any of the all-state basketball teams?
Henry, the closest thing I can think of anybody ever making All-State and any of that would be probably Robert Phillips. Now, Roy Holder made All-Region. Kerry Page made All-Region. Howard Butcher made All-Region. But as far as making All-State, don't think so at the time. Even though they're good ball players, but playing in Franklin, the exposure wasn't there, at that time, and so even though we had good ball players, we played against a lot of real good teams that had a lot of real good players, and most of those didn't make the All-State team because at the time we had just started playing for the overall state championships. And we didn't start doing that until 1958, 59. And and we're talking about a period of 58, 59 till we had total integration in 65. So you only had a window of those 7, 8 years. So no, we didn't have as many All-Staters.
High Street, Bowling Green, had some good teams. Would imagine there were some fierce battles against that team.
Sure. They were our main rival. High Street was like Franklin, Simpson, and Bowling Green was a few years back. Well, still is. But we had fierce rivals with High Street. And a lot of times it turned out like Franklin and Franklin and Bowling Green High. The winner won half, the favorite won half the time. We were favored one year to just totally demolish my senior year. And we went up there and lost 20-13. My junior year, they were favored to beat us, and we beat them down here 40-13. So, and before that, the battles were fierce. Football was real fierce. Basketball, they always seemed to have a little bit better team than we did. The only time that we really upset them that really bothered them was in their own invitational tournament my senior year. And they thought it was a lock for them to win. And we beat Warren East the first game. And I forgot who they played. So we played them in the finals. But everybody thought it was going to be a walkover. And we beat them 49-43 or 49-45 in their own tournament. So, and they had bought a trophy that was just outrageous. It was 5 feet tall. And that was a trophy they was going to present to themselves. But they presented it to us.
Two big upsets. Bristow and Rich Hendricks was playing.
My sophomore year, we played Bristow in the first game of the district. My junior year, first game of the district. And we were behind. I'm not actually sure about the points, but we were behind anywhere from 12 to 20 points at halftime. And Coach Griffin went in the dressing room, and actually he said nothing, but let's go back out and play ball. And we went back out the second half, and Bert Barone at that time was the editor of sports editor of Park City Daily News. And at that time, he said it was the biggest upset that ever occurred in the, I forget what was the 13th or 14th district, but he said it was the biggest upset that had ever occurred. I mean, the biggest comeback that ever occurred in the 14th district. We came back and beat them 6, 8 points, and we went into a pre-stall type offense, and we were scoring on bunnies all night. Joe Flip, when you're talking about, he probably played the best game he's ever played. And he came out on the bench and scored 12, 14 points. And really fired us up.
Now, as I recall, Ken, the next night, played Bowling Green. Things didn't go too well at that.
Yes. Bowling Green had won 5 ball games the whole year. Their basketball team was not the greatest in the world, but to show you what determination to do, they beat us 10 or 12 points in the semifinals of the district. And they came back and lost to a super Warren East team On East had C. Mizell, and I can't think of the other guy's name. C. Mizell was a really Super Bowl player. And came back and played them within 5 or 6 points. Went to the district, went to the region, and I think they won the first game and won the first game and got to the semifinals of the region when they finally lost. But they had only won 5 regular season ball games. So that shows that, you get a second chance in basketball. When determination takes you a long way. It did them.
Let's move on, Ken, to football. Some good football teams in those days.
There were. Definitely were. We played Nashville Pearl. And at the time, Nashville Pearl was the defending black state champion out of Tennessee. And we'd only lost 1 game up that time. We had a good team. That's my senior year. I had a real good team. But when we went down to Pearl, we came on the field. To this short story, we came on the field, and Alfred Briggs looked at this paper, this program from the week before, and they played Jackson Central Mary and had beat them 40, 50 points because Coach Griffin and the C.D. Gucci had gone down to scout them because we had an open date. And so we got down, thinking, well, man, we're going to run into a buzzsaw because, they had basically all the players back from the year before. We get down there, and on the field, there was about 30 players warming up. So we saying, they're no bigger than us, same size, everything, no big. We got about 30 players. So in the dressing room, we all fired up. So Alfred Briggs gives us this program. He said, look at this. I look at the program. And we look down through the lineup, and the lineup they had down there, they had nobody on the line. We're talking about 63 football. Nobody on that line weighed under 225 pounds. They're off his line. In fact, had a center and a tackle weighed around 265, 270. And we looked at the program. I said, this can't be right. He said, evidently it is. So we didn't tell anyone else. We were on the field. We got to start warm up, and we're at this north end of town. Big roll. And so there's 30 guys that are on the field. They started walking off. Come to find out later, it was the JV team. It was out there warming up, the junior high team. They ran out about 85 players. Now you're talking about 85 players at that time. They circled us about 3 or 4 times during their warm-ups. 85 players in 1963 is a lot of players. Of course, they had to pick up the city. We talk about Nashville. There was only 2 high schools at the time played football in Nashville. And Pearl was it. And they had about 1,100 students at that time in 4 grades. So you're talking about a huge school, and everybody's playing football. So we were saying to ourselves that time it's going to be a long night. But, make a long story short, we beat them in 2013.
Okay. I remember seeing some games back in those days. Who was the quarterback on that team? Joe Billy Flippin still playing, and Barbie in the backfield?
The team who played my junior year, they had a really good team. Benny Brandt was a quarterback.
Right.
Joe Barbie was a running back. Flip was the running back, and Frank Stanley was fullback. We played a full house backfield at that time.
Now Holder, what did he play?
Ron Holder played in, and that was my sophomore year. Tell you a story about that. A killing story. My sophomore year, we were playing Henderson, Kentucky. They had a really good team, and the score was 19-19, and there was 8 or 10 seconds left to go, and we was on like the 40, 45-yard line. So Coach Griffin put Kerry Page out there at that time. He had a stronger arm than Benny Bryant did. He put Kerry Page out to throw a bomb to Raw Holder, and Raw Holder got open. He was open. You could see him. He's about 5 yards behind him. But Kerry didn't get the ball far enough downfield.
Oh.
Well, a guy named Edgar Moss, he was the state champ in the high hurdles for Henderson. And he intercepted the pass. And he ran down outside lines, although his time expired just as soon as the pass was underthrown. And he ran right in front of us, down the sidelines, about 65 or 70 yards for a touchdown. Now he was running down the sidelines, and everybody wants to tackle him because we can just reach out and touch him, but our team is, over a little bit forward middle field, and nobody's ever close enough to get him. but everybody stand on the sidelines. But, you know, we couldn't do that, so.
Woody Hayes did one here.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Yeah, that was a real hurtful loss, you know. To lose like that is the only time, up to that time, that, you know, we lost with no time left on the clock.
Now, integration, Ken, what year was that?
Total integration was 65.
Okay, the year before, there was a volunteer program where an African-American student could go to Franklin Simpson High School. Very many play for Franklin Simpson during that year of volunteer attendance.
Yeah, my junior year, I'm wrong. The first year was Mickey Dell Senior, which is a football year of 64. And before that, we had 3 or 4 players come to Franklin Simpson, and most of them played they were sophomores. And I'm juniors, that would be Paul Ray, Choice Coleman. But my junior year, my senior year, had quite a few come to Franklin Simpson. And that would be Frank Stanley, who was a fullback on our team, came to Franklin Simpson and made all Sky and all West Kentucky Conference that next year. He played with Jim Richards and Bobby May and those. He played with them. He made all Sky. Frank was the best football player that came at that time. But in 65, total integration, had some real good football players. Jesse Roby, Fred Hindley, William Harris, you know, they all came.
Yeah, Bill Harris was the first black
captain,
co-captain, yeah.
Right, of the team, Franklin Simpson, right.
Baseball. Did Lincoln have a baseball team?
Started a baseball team when Coach Griffin came, and that was when I was a freshman. We were like one of those teams that are bad news bears. We won some and lost some. The ones we lost sort of big. But we played some good teams and beat a good team. One team that we played that was real good, and we played against him, and he pitched like a 2-hitter against us. What is his name? Stan Markham of Bowling Green.
I remember him.
Stan Markham, super pitcher. And he pitched a 2-hitter against us. I think they beat us 15 or 16-0. But, you know, we couldn't complain because we pitched against one of the best pitchers in the state. The next year, you know, they won the state championship.
Right.
Bowling Green had it. So, you know, we couldn't complain. You know.
Let's move along to Lincoln School itself. Classes very tough, the ones you had?
Sure. Had good teachers that, and back then, the thing we do, and this is not to say that, you know, that the times are any different, but no kid ever left Lincoln that couldn't read.
Is that
teacher,
right?
Yeah, no kid ever left Lincoln. And, you know, it's just and what it was, the parents understood. If your kid couldn't read or write, that they were going to be held back. You know, I don't know if kids, they do that now or not, but you had to learn to read and write before you ever look at the teachers. I mean, they were adamant about that happening. And had super teachers. Miss Burrs, first grade teacher, unreal, super teacher. Miss Alice Roby, third grade teacher. Miss Stringer, third grade teacher. Mr. D.T. Wright.
I remember him.
These are big names that people.
Yeah.
Mr. D.T. Wright, Miss Brooks, of course.
Right.
And Mr. Miss Neal. Miss Neal, Homer Neal Jr., who was probably our most famous alumnus. His mother was a 6th grade teacher at Lincoln. So we had teachers who really cared. Coach Griffin, and Mr. Wood's band director, you know, and all the teachers, you know, actually had to do more than one job. They were a parent while we were at school, and the parents expected that from them, you know. And so there were parents, a lot of kids didn't have a lot of money, and they contributed money to the school fund, to the lunches. Kids didn't have lunch money and stuff. So they were parents away from home. They were parents who were parents away from home.
Discipline. Was the school fairly strict? You never got into any trouble, I know.
No, one time, Henry. Well, I won't get into that. But yeah, it was real strict. At that time, discipline was you didn't want to go to see Mr. Wright.
Is that right?
Because the school teachers sent you to see Mr. Wright. And at that time, Mr. Wright had these razor strips. And he had one named Tom and the other one named Jerry. And so if you went to see, if they sent you to see Mr. Wright didn't ask any questions. It meant you were there. You had done something wrong to come see him. And he would stop his class, his 8th grade class, to discipline you for the reasons that you were there. And so nobody wanted to go see Mr. Wright.
So spanking was permitted in those days.
Oh, spanking was permitted. It was real permitted. Yeah, it was permitted. It was. And and if you missed it, some of the later teachers, they spanked your hand. They had little straps they'd put you in the hand with. But if you'd done something real bad, I'm not bad enough to see you home anything I get, but bad according to the way they felt, you went to see Mr. Wright.
Was there much variation in the curriculum? Were a lot of courses offered then, or were they limited?
Well, you start off with your A, B, we start off with your English. We had everything. We had chemistry. Miss Brooks taught chemistry. We had algebra 2, chemistry, geography, history. Basically everything that you have, we had the basics. Everything that basically that you have now. We didn't have calculus, courses like that at that time, but we had the basic needs, reading, writing, arithmetic, history, geometry. Had geometry, I forgot about geometry, chemistry, English, the basic courses.
I only remember 2 principals, W.H. Story and then Coach Griffin, I believe, for a year or so.
Right. The first principal was Mr. I forget his name already, and I cannot forget his name because he's my wife's uncle.
Oh, you're going to be in trouble.
I'll be in big trouble. I can name some. Mr. Dalford was a principal. Mr. Gum was a principal.
Mr. Gum was?
Mr. Gum, yeah, Mr. Gum. Hewlin Gum was principal. Mr. Story, Mr. Parks was a principal. Mr. I cannot think of his name. Of course, Mr. Story. Mr. Houston. Mr. Houston was a principal. He was the first principal of Lincoln School. And, of course, Coach Griffin and Mr. Story.
Had some students, Ken, that went on to national recognition. I know we'll probably leave some out, but kind of give a rundown of those you remember.
Well, the most prominent, I would say most prominent, and and I might be using the wrong word for it, but the most recognizable would be Holman L. Jr. He became he was a scientist at the University of Michigan, and he was one of the scientists that went to Russia that worked on this joint effort about space at one time. He also was I might be wrong on this, but he was next to the chancellor. And I think that might be his job now, I'm not sure, but he was next to the chancellor at the University of Michigan. So he was he became a very prominent person. Also, we had Paul Kahn, who worked in the Department of Agriculture. He was the Department of Agriculture.
Paul, yes.
Right, he was the deputy to the Secretary of Agriculture. We've had Richard Sewell, who was Richard Soda one time was over all the health service systems in DeKalb, in Cook County, Chicago. He was over the health service systems. Of course, Johnny Johnson is a very prominent and important person in the NAACP. He became I don't want to do this wrong either, but I think he was third in charge behind the chairperson and
I think so,
vice
yes.
chairperson, yeah, of the NAACP. His current position is probably still the same. And there have probably been some more that have done real well, and but at this time, those are the main 3 or 4 that I can remember.
One, Ken, I would add to that list because he sang at the National NAACP convention, and that's our friend Robert Phillips, who has since passed away.
You're right. Robert Phillips Jr.,
he was talented.
Yeah, very talented. Very talented. Robert probably went to Lincoln up to about the 6th grade because he mainly went to Franklin Simpson.
Right.
But he was a very talented individual, he was a great singer, and he was sort of regional known for his talent, as far as being a singer and a pianist. And also, just as far as prominent people, she was not actually a product of Lincoln, but Sheila Harris Jackson was a very prominent singer with the opera out of New York.
Right, still is.
And right. And so she was a prominent individual from Lincoln.
Then the young lady, last name Harris, I know probably went to Franklin Simpson more, but African Americans certainly done well in track.
Right. Gail Harris.
There you go, yeah.
Gail Harris, she did real well. In fact, she was, at one time, she was like number 2 in the United States. It might have been the world as far as the 110-yard hurdles.
Right.
And she was number 2 in the world at one time. She was, and one year I think she was eligible to go and was going to go in and made the Olympic team. Now, I'm not be sure about this, but I'm almost think she did, was the year of the 1980 boycott that we did of the games in Moscow. So she wasn't able to go because of the boycott.
I followed Dr. David Patterson's career, quite prominent doctor in Washington, D.C., I believe.
Right. Yes, Dr. Patterson, I forgot about it. But I was thinking about people who are basically Lincoln people, but
right.
Dr. Patterson is. He's one of the most prominent doctors in the United States. He was in Walter Reed Hospital, I think, for a time. But he's a very prominent doctor.
Lincoln School, still, there's a part of the original Lincoln School standing.
Right. The main part is where it says Lincoln School 1940, even though they rearranged everything and had a big renovation. The Lincoln School 1940 still stands. Part of the gym is still there. And there's some more there, but it's enough to know that it's still Lincoln School.
Even though I think it's been redone, but that gym, just the gym, has a lot of history.
Sure does. We don't know how many plays we had in that gym, because every class had to have a play. And the first grade kids and the second grade kids always had a big play every year. And the juniors and seniors had plays. Of course, you're going back to the basketball inside. We had some awful good teams back in the early 50s that had good ball. I had a team that consisted of John McAlpin and Clyde Groves and Walter Carter and Arthur Lee Arthur Horn and Cliff Deathridge. They had a real good team. And they won some big games that year.
Okay, Ken, let's see how good your memory is.
Mm-hmm.
When you were a senior, do you remember who the valedictorian was?
My class?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sure.
You?
Yeah, Richard Sewell. No, Richard Sewell.
Richard Sewell.
Richard Sewell, right. Richard Sewell was, and Bernice Bradley was salutatorian.
And Richard Sewell.
Richard Sewell's the one I was telling you about earlier. He's in Chicago, and he was at one time, he was over all the health service system in the Cook County.
How many were in your class?
We had the largest graduating class ever come out of Lincoln, at 30.
30.
Right, 30, largest graduating class.
Most still alive? Have you lost
Only
any
one
members?
deceased.
Only one.
Right, and we're in the process right now of putting together our 40th anniversary, because this is our 40th anniversary year.
Great. When are you planning to do that?
Well, we're not sure. We're just in the process of getting everybody together to get this together.
Well, Ken, I've enjoyed this and appreciate your talking with us on Frankly Franklin. You're kind of a walking encyclopedia of sports at the Lincoln School, and we certainly enjoy your taking time to talk with us.
We appreciate it.
This edition of Frankly Franklin, as we said, that this is Black History Month, and the old Lincoln School, certainly a prominent role in black history in Franklin and Simpson County. My guest today, Kenneth Holt, who played sports at Lincoln and graduated from that high school. We thank you for watching.